Final Stop Brazil, Chapter 10. Fighting at all ends. Death of my father. Day and night I am writing and hardly notice anything around me anymore, very much to the dislike of Charlene and the other South Africans who followed her into prison. It is almost probably jealousy, because I found something to keep me from going crazy inside here. These women are starting a real smear campaign against me. The Brazilians, though, don't bother about my writing. Contrary, they admire me for my talent, because many of these women can neither read nor write, and in their eyes I'm a genius. Nowadays it happens once or twice a week I indeed eat something, but not the prison food. I like very much the esfias, Arabic mini pizzas together with Coca-Cola. For this we regularly collect money and pass it together with our order to the guards, who then make their orders for us by telephone. 1 hour later the delicious food will be delivered together with ice-cold Coca-Cola. Even though I now understand Portuguese very well, I still talk more in Portuñol, a mixture of Portuguese and Spanish, which is mostly spoken at the frontiers from Brazil to Paraguay or Argentina. This changes, though, when Andrea, a young Brazilian girl who became criminal out of love, ends up with us. She smuggled a cell phone and cannabis into the prison while visiting her boyfriend, got caught, and ended up herself as a prisoner. I am old enough to be her mother, but nevertheless we become friends immediately. She speaks slowly in Portuguese with me, so I learn not only to understand well, but also to speak it, while she keeps on correcting me whenever I make a mistake. After only a short time, we can communicate very well with each other and exchange our histories. But whenever I am writing, she respects it and leaves me be. On the following visitor day, I meet Sandra, her mother, and like her also very much from the beginning. If I need anything, I give her money, and she will bring it to me the very next week. When I meet Andrea's brother on another visiting day, he makes me promise, take good care of my sister. I do take it very seriously, and always watch out that she keeps away from drugs and doesn't mix with these old women who offer anything to these young girls for having sex with them. One day I catch her as she smokes cannabis. Brusquely I take her on the side and sneer at her. If you don't want me to tell your brother, throw it away, here and now. At first the threat works, and she doesn't touch the stuff anymore. At his next visit, Mr. Sturm comes over me like a thunderstorm. His face red with anger, he waves a copy in front of my nose and shouts at me that I am a shameless liar and how I could state that I have the money to pay Mrs. Bischoff. Not one penny I owned in Spain. He bashes this copy on the table, and I recognize straight away what it is. A statement of account movements confirming the latest takeout from my account. Minus 184 euros. But this typical statement doesn't show any balance, and so Mr. Sturm believes that this means I have minus 184 euros on my account. With other words, nothing. He doesn't give me the least chance to explain this misunderstanding. From this day on, he only treats me in a very cold, distant and arrogant way, like I am a real criminal. His behavior is waking a suspect in me, and I start to ask the Brazilians how much a Brazilian lawyer costs, in average. They give me numbers between 3,000 and 6,000 reais. Mrs. Bischoff is asking, converted in Brazilian currency, almost 12,000 reais. A few days later, Mrs. Bischoff comes to see me and brings me the name and address of the Spanish consul. I explain to her the misunderstanding about my bank information, but she pretends that it is obvious to her what this statement means, and also that she doesn't know anything concerning Mr. Sturm. More and more I get the feeling that they don't even take me seriously, and that there are some things going on behind my back. I am writing a letter to the Spanish consulate and beg urgently for help for my son Michael. At this point, I don't even know anymore where he is. Obviously, he had been moved to another orphanage. I don't know. But it doesn't take long until I receive an answer from the Spanish consul. He himself interfered in the case of my son and achieves by the Spanish juvenile court in Malaga in with a short time a decision that Michael has the official permission to stay in Spain and in the orphanage where he is right now. I cheer over my success and divide my joy with Andrea. Unfortunately, much too early. Since I have a new address for Michael, I write to him straight away and plead him once again to hold on and not to let anybody talk him into returning to Germany. I write a letter to Rosie, a friend I met in Spain during our vacation, and a letter to my parents. To Luciano, I don't write anymore. It doesn't make sense, because he never responds to my letters. He always tells me happily when he receives a new letter from me, but prefers to answer me by telephone. He says he doesn't have time to write. He doesn't have any idea how much I am longing for some written lines, some nice words I can always read, and how much it would mean to me in my situation. Rosie answers my letter and promises to do everything to help me. Unfortunately, there isn't anything she could help me with. I am missing my friends in Spain, Germany, Chile, and England so much. Doris, Juan and Pepe, Cande, Alicia, Sabine, Rosa, Cesar, Victor, Jones, and all the others. Will I ever see one of them again? None of them has the slightest idea what happened to me and where I am. For them, I simply disappeared. And for me, there's no way I can get in touch with them, because I have neither their addresses nor telephone numbers. With those thoughts, a great desperation is overwhelming me. Once again, Mr. Sturm is paying me a visit. It is already October, and as usual, he's just bringing me bad news. My daughter sought contact to the German Juvenile Court and applied for the foster rights over Michael. At the same time, she applied for a bigger flat to have additional space for him. Not enough with this, she contacted Mr. Sturm to let me know that she is willing to receive my personal items of Chris and take care of them. I just see red. I asked for a pen and paper and set off an email text. I asked Mr. Sturm to send it to her with the following contents. You damn bitch. As long as I can think, you turned my life into hell. As long as I can think, you turned my life into hell. You stole from me. You stole even my husband from me, and Christ knows what else. Now you want to take the dearest thing away from me, what I have, once again. Why don't you just leave us in peace and sort out your own life? Before I let you have my things, I'd rather let Chris destroy everything. With this, I forbid you to bring anything of my personal belongings to Germany. If you don't stick to it, I'm going to report you for thieving. Mr. Sturm asked her why she doesn't write me herself, and she just gave him the slight answer that she had lost my address. Only 1 week later, Mr. Waldman comes to see me. His appearance makes me realize immediately that something has happened, and a terrible fear grabs hold of me. Fear for Michael. As he tries to talk me into taking a tranquilizer, my fear turns into panic. I don't need this. Tell me what happened, I advise him sharply. But he carries on holding the tranquilizer in front of me. Out of anger, a nervous tension, I beat this tablet out of his hand. Okay, however you want it. I received a phone call yesterday. Your father has died. I need a moment to realize what this insensible person had said to me. He continues to tell me what my mother had said on the telephone. In the morning, they still had been shopping together, and back at home had been drinking coffee. Then my father went to bed because he felt very bad. having pain in the heart. My mother had called my sister, who finally called immediately the emergency, but it was already too late. I'm hardly listening any more to what Mr. Waldman is saying. The funeral will be on the coming Monday, but he doesn't see any chance for me to be released for the funeral to let me fly to Germany. What will happen next? How much more can a human being endure? I want to go back inside. I let the guards know. Shake absent hands with Mr. Waldman and let the guards take me back inside the cage. The other women ask me worriedly what happened. Shortly I give them notice to sit down afterwards alone on the mattress I share with Andrea. My father is dead. Of course, I never had the best relationship with my parents, but looking at it afterwards, I come to the conclusion that my father was, after all, the better parent. Yes, he also beat me, but on the other side, many times he protected me from my hot-tempered mother, who sometimes in her anger could have killed me if my father would not have interfered. My father just lacked arguments, words, and then he would beat. But it was he who finally got adjusted to my life, which was so much different from the others. It was he who learned to understand me and finally stood behind me until the end. And now he's dead. I will never see him again.